So how do you create a red guard? Well, here's how Mao did it. Mao created 10 different identity categories. He called
Okay, keep in mind, no one is creating a Maoist red guard in woke universities now. Or I should say woke professors. I don't think any actual entire universities are woke.
5 of them black, and that was for bad or fascist. And he called 5 of them red, and that was for good or communist. And the red guard were selected from the red identity categories. The black identity categories he labeled were things, well, actually the 5 that he named were rich farmer, landlord, um, counter-revolutionary, bad influences, and right-wingers. And then the good ones were things like peasant and laborer and
Keep in mind, this is still just stuff that Mao did.
revolutionary and activist and things like that. And so the goal was to take as many people as you could and associate them one way or another with a bad identity to create a social pressure that was easiest to affect in children to move them into a good identity. So you want to make people think of themselves.
So if he's going to say that people created these categories in order to demonize people, you could argue that, well, like woke people do the opposite of that. They they say they invent all these fucking 100 genders or whatever he says it is. Um, but yeah, like a lot of woke people definitely demonize conservatives, but conservatives demonize woke people too. Like that's not a different thing. Tribal people of any kind do that. And like Foucault also talked about in terms of postmodernism as an example I've listed many times before is that he talked about how the creation of the category of homosexuality was um, it was done by the institution of religion and the church in order to label it as a sin, and done by the institution of science in order to label homosexuality as a medical flaw, and it was done by the government in order to make homosexuality illegal. So, you know, postmodernists and like are not inherently pro the creation of categories. That's why there's this false connection between postmodernism and wokeness. But you know, I'm again, he's just talking about what Mao did here, and that people are tribal. Again, no evidence whatsoever of any actual Maoism and wokeness.